Hello and welcome back. The topic for this video, we're going to discuss the bacteria that are normally associated with the human body. So for those of you out there who are germaphobes, hopefully this video is going to help sway you to realize that not all bacteria are bad, okay? We are going to have associated with the body, we've got good bacteria. And that good bacteria makes up our normal microbiota. And that normal microbiota are the bacteria that are permanently associated with the individual, okay? They help keep us healthy, and we'll talk a little bit about how they help us keep us healthy here in a little bit, all right? You can also have what's known as transient microbiota. And just like the word transient means, they're bacteria that kind of come and go. And a lot of times environment is what influences the transient microbiota associated with the body. You may move to a new region or have changes to your diet, and that can result in changes in new and different bacteria that become part of the body. So typically, transient microbiota are present for days, weeks, sometimes months, all right? But it's a defined period of time, all right? And what those good bacteria are, all right, there are different species that are associated with the human body, places where bacteria are found in the body are going to be the eyes, specifically the conjunctiva, the membranes associated with the eye, the nose, the mouth, also have normal bacteria associated with them. The respiratory system, so the lungs will have some normal microbiota. I didn't say ears yet, good. Ears also have normal bacteria associated with them. The digestive tract has lots of different bacteria associated with it because when we eat food, we are actually ingesting bacteria when we eat food. Now, most of those bacteria that we ingest are not pathogenic. They're the good bacteria, okay? But the digestive tract, the urogenital tract, so the urinary tract, the reproductive organs, also places where bacteria normally live in the body. And those bacteria that are living within the human body are exhibiting a symbiotic relationship with us. All right? You might fail at all other relationships, but your bacteria, they're going to hang around, okay? The symbiotic relationship that we've got going is essentially that both species, us as a human being and the bacteria being the other species that we're talking about here, benefit from the relationship, okay? And ways that those symbiotic bacteria can help us. We've got a couple different ways that that can happen by. One is that they outcompete the pathogenic bacteria for living space. So essentially what happens, and the one I'm going to use as an example just because it's easiest, is going to be the digestive tract. So that's going to be our example. What happens is once you're born, the body starts to be exposed to different bacteria. And those bacteria will start to colonize the gut, and that then is going to protect the individual from pathogenic bacteria. And what happens there with the competition for living space. It's what's known as microbial antagonism. So essentially, the good bacteria keep the bad ones out. Okay? So those bacteria help protect us just by numbers. So if you've got lots of the good bacteria associated with your digestive tract, things like bifidobacterium, lactobacillus, enterococcus, coliforms, which are bacteria that produce lactose, Bacteroides, those are all species of bacteria that live within your digestive system, and they help keep your digestive system healthy. So they protect us from bad bacteria just by being there and taking up space. The other thing that happens is that part of normal bacterial metabolism that we've talked about previously is a lot of the bacteria ferment sugars. And as part of that fermentation process, they're producing an acid product, all right? Lactic acid would be a great example of that, and the lactobacillus that's associated with the digestive system is one of those bacteria. When they encounter sugars, they break that sugar down and they produce lactic acid. And that acid production actually helps protect the body. That also, for example, with the skin, helps protect us from other pathogens, because if those bacteria are producing an acid, it helps lower the pH of your skin, and bacteria, if you remember from their living environments, they need a very specific pH typically to live, okay? So that acid production helps protect us also. And then the bacteria also produce proteins that actually will attack what they see is in their microbial community, the foreign bacteria. And those foreign bacteria being things like pathogens, all right? The last thing that bacteria do, and I'll put this up here so that you can read it. The last thing that bacteria do that help benefit us is that they actually produce vitamins for us. And those vitamins, primarily that are produced, and these again are produced within the gut, are vitamin B and vitamin K, all right? So they actually provide us with things that our body needs in order to function normally, because vitamin K is a crucial part of the body's ability to undergo clotting, okay? So they help produce vitamins. They essentially outcompete the pathogenic bacteria. They produce products that help ward off other bacteria, all right? So that's how it benefits us. For them, we provide, oops, that's a V, gonna be a V. We provide the living space, so they can inhabit our gut and our intestines or the ears or the urogenital tract, and they've got a relatively protective environment. So we provide living space and food, because the food we take in, all right, the vegetables and fruit in particular have cellulose that are associated with those vegetable and fruit products. Our body actually can't break down cellulose, but cellulose can be a food source for the bacteria. So we're providing them nutrients, we're providing them a safe place to live. They actually help protect us from pathogenic bacteria. They produce vitamin K for us, vitamin B, which is part of our normal which is needed for our normal body function, all right? What's really interesting about the normal bacterial flora that's come out recently is breastfeeding versus bottle feeding your child. They're finding that breastfed babies actually have a different association of bacteria in their gut than bottle-fed babies do, all right? It's also seen differences with babies that are born vaginally versus babies that are born by C-section. The bacteria that make up the normal microbiota for babies that are born vaginally are different than the microbiota for babies that are born by C-section. And that they're showing over time as having an impact on long-term health, because it turns out your normal microbiota help control a lot of things. One of those things being obesity, one of those things being propensity towards certain diseases. So those bacteria actually are beneficial, and those differences have been noted, okay? So in breastfed babies, bifidobacteria tends to be the prominent bacteria that's associated with the gastrointestinal tract of breastfed babies, whereas with bottle-fed babies, the enteric bacteria tend to be the most common type. So bifidobacteria in bottle-fed babies, they don't tend to have a lot of bifidobacterium associated with their gut, okay? And that has an impact on overall health in the long run, all right? Hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions, please let me know.